Hi everyone, it's Rachel Kleinman from rwkrafts.com. Today I'm going to share with you a Father's Day card that I created using this Concord and Ninth stamp set. It is called Globe Greetings. And this stamp set is so versatile. You can say world's best mom, sister, dad, friend, brother, and it also has welcome to the world, which would be great for babies, and then a world of thanks. So again, doubles as a thank you card. There are just a lot of uses for this stamp set, and I even splurged on the matching dies. I know, I don't normally do that, but I thought it was worth it because I can see myself using this stamp set way down the road for so many different uses. Okay, anyways, I'm getting started by heat embossing the stand portion of the globe. So you can see that I rubbed my paper down with my Static Buddy and then I stamped it with Versamark watermark ink. And now I'm using Simon Says Stamp Gold embossing powder. And I just used the good old classic method of a folded piece of scrap paper to collect my powder and to do my stamping on. Really nothing fancy there. And that has worked for me since I was in grade school to do heat embossing. Okay, so I like to use the Wagner heat tool and I let it get heated up for a little bit before I set it to my paper. So you can see the embossing powder start to change, which is what got me hooked in stamping in the first place. So you can see when I hold it to the light, I missed a spot. I missed a spot. So I put my heat tool back up to it really quickly, and now everything is perfectly gold embossed. So next I'm going to stamp the continents of the globe. So I want this to be a very subtle portion of my card. I don't want this to be what stands out. So because of that, I'm using a lighter colored ink. This is a Hero Arts shadow ink called Mint Julep. It's a very pretty color. It almost has a chalk-like finish to it once you stamp it. But it's going to be perfect for the color scheme I'm going for and also to just be a subtle detail, but still definitely a detail that's important to the card. So I stamped it on some Neenah Solar White cardstock and then I die cut it with one of the included dies, which is just a perfect circle shape to cut out that stamp right there. So I already did that off camera. And now I am setting up my sentiment. It is going to say world's best dad. And you can see I'm just trying to line it up so that the dad portion is even with the rest. And I'm just going to hand stamp it with a good old-fashioned acrylic block, and I will be using VersaFine black ink so that it's super crisp and stands out, and also so it sits on top of the previous inking that I've done in the background. World's best dad. And since globes kind of tend to sit at an angle, I'm doing all of this with that in mind, thinking of what angle I want to have that portion of the stamp. There you see it with the globe stand. So off camera again, I die cut this banner, and that is a die cut that's included in the set if you buy the matching dies. And there is this little triangle, but it's perfect to fill in your banners. So I thought it would be easiest to do the die cut first. And now I'm going to go through and with Simon Says Stamp pigment inks, I am going to do different shades of blue and just kind of do like an ombre faded blue pattern across the banner. So you can see all the different inks I'm using. And I do clean them off in between with my Lawn Fawn stamp chamois. If I was going to do totally different colors that weren't in the same color family, then I would do a separate inking off camera on a scrap piece of paper to make sure that I was getting the true color that I wanted when I put it on the banner stamp. But you can see here I just used different shades of Simon Says Stamp inks that were blue. And I'm going to put the banner on the top of the globe. Now I've fussed quite a bit and I was very unsure of where in the end I wanted it, so I saved you the the hassle from watching that and cut it all out. But here it is. I finally decided to have it angled in kind of an opposite fashion of the way that the globe was angled. And then I just cut off whatever was extra on the sides. And I'm going to mount that on my card panel using some scotch foam adhesive so that it just has that little bump up and it's not on the same level as the embossing. So here I'm adding my foam and I got that down. And now it's time for all the details of the card. So this stamp set also includes a lot of different flower stamps, but also different flower shaped dies that come in the matching die set. And I went through and cut out about 3 sets of each of those flower and leaf dies out of Neenah Solar White cardstock. And what I find is the easiest for me is, rather than stamping and then trying to match up the little die, is I just die cut and then I color it whatever color I want with my Copic markers. So you can see with the leaves, I used, I think that was YG05. I will double check with my Copic markers. And then the vine, I'm doing a little darker. This is YG17. And then I also have all these different flower shapes that are just so pretty, but I'm doing those in the different shades of blue to try and match them to the banner that I previously stamped. So the largest flower I'm doing in BG11. And again, just going over with my Copic markers on top of a scrap piece of paper. And this flower is BG15. And then finally, my last flower is, what's that? BG32. Sorry, I'm trying to read my screen and it's quite small. So BG32. So you can see I went for that light oceany kind of teal color. Now, once I have all of these colored with my Copics, I'm going to go through and stamp with the little accent stamp that's included. And I'm using very similar colors to what I used in my banner. I'm just doing a little bit shade darker than whatever color I colored it in with my markers. So this is a really great way to get so much different life out of your stamp set, because you could color this flower yellow and then stamp the center purple. You could leave it white and then stamp the center yellow. You could do whatever you wanted. And then you could also, if you don't want to use the die, just stamp the main flower with the center directly onto your project. So there are a lot of different ways to use such small pieces, but you really get a lot of bang for your buck out of the stamp set. So now I'm just finishing up the leaves and adding the vines to the leaves and using a very similar green color so that it doesn't stand out, but you can still see it. So here you can see that once I've got everything stamped and finished, I am just putting a little bit of the flowers on the side of the globe. I'm gluing them down with my Tombow Mono multi-liner adhesive. Now, when I do things like this, I get very incredibly indecisive, and at one point this card sat on my desk for 3 days because I didn't know how I wanted to place those flowers. And then finally one day I just decided, this is stupid, I just need to start gluing them down. So I just went for it and I decided to keep it very simple and not over the top. So I just did a few flowers on the left-hand side, and you can see here I'm doing 2 flowers and a vine on the bottom of the globe. Sometimes simple is better, and sometimes you should not overthink, which is definitely a struggle that I get myself into quite often. So here we go, finishing it up with, again, some scotch foam adhesive, just to give the card some more pop and to make sure you know what the detail is. So I'm adhering my panel to Neenah Desert Storm Craft Colored cardstock. This is an 80-pound cardstock. The rest of the white cardstock that I've used today is Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock. So the final detail for my Father's Day card are these very small black rhinestones. I wanted black so that it would match with the black of the sentiment. And then of course all the rest is those beautiful blues and greens and kind of ocean colors. So that finishes up my Father's Day card. I wanted to also show you my Mother's Day card that this card was inspired by. This card is actually already in the mail, being sent to my mom. The only difference is that I heat emboss the white sentiment on black cardstock. So here are some close-ups of the card. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've gotten some inspiration for your Father's Day cards. All the supplies I've used are listed and linked in the description below. Bye!